Welcome back. We have an update from Global Crossing Airlines Group, Inc., which trades on the OTCQB under the symbol JETMF and on the NEO under the symbol JET. And it's a US 121 domestic flag and supplemental airline flying the Airbus A320 family aircraft. GlobalX flies as a passenger ACMI charter airline serving the US, Caribbean, European, and Latin American markets. Please welcome EVP and CFO, Ryan Goepel. Nice to see you, Ryan.
Nice to see you as well. Thank you.
All right. The floor is yours. Call me back when you're ready for questions.
Sounds great. Well, great. Thank you, everybody. This is an update presentation to kind of give you where we are since we last presented a couple months ago. One of the things I just want to highlight real quickly as we go through the disclaimer language, who we are, just for those who haven't heard of us before, we are an ACMI charter operator. And what that means is we operate large aircraft, A320s, on a charter basis, with our core customers being governments, sports teams, tour groups, and corporate entities. Why this is different, and this is a kind of a unique model within the United States, is what this allows us to do is we operate on a cost plus basis, which means every flight we fly is for profit. We do not take fuel risk. We do not take ticket sale risks. You won't hear things about load factors or forward selling or fuel pricing when we discuss our results. We basically sell the whole plane. We sell it on a cost plus basis. And what that allows us to do is provide the services that the scheduled carriers do not. So we ultimately have to be highly flexible. We have to accommodate our customers where they want and how they want it. And as a result, in the last year, since we started, we can sort of talk about what we've achieved. You know, since we started operations in August of 2021, we've operated over 25,000 hours. So when you think about the unit of measure we use as revenue, we sell what's called a block hour, which is the hour from when you leave the gate to when you come back to the gate. We bill, so it's taxi and flight time is what we bill our customers. We basically so what we track is how many block hours are operated. We operate 14 aircraft with another 8 hoping to be coming in the next 3 to 4 months. We have 120 pilots. We have key certifications. Now, what I like to emphasize on this for those who haven't heard is we really have 3 assets. The aircraft, which are all leased, which we operate throughout the world. Pilots, which is our second asset. It does you no good to have the planes if you cannot fly them. And the third asset being the certifications. We have a US 121 certification, which allows us to operate throughout as a flag throughout the United States and the world. We have IATA certification, which is the highest level of safety standard, which allows us to operate for other airlines. We have EASA TCO, which allows us to operate throughout Europe. We have the UK TCO, allows us to operate in the UK, and we also have DoD, which allows us to operate for the Department of Defense. All of those are additional certifications beyond our base one, which basically increases our total addressable market. So then we ask, who do we fly for? Over 40% of our revenue is derived from long-term contracts. 2/3 of our contracts are with blue chip repeat clients. And what that means is if you look at the college sports scene, we have 5 aircraft dedicated to college sports right now. 9 of the top 20 men's and women's basketball teams we are flying for. And we're in the middle of bowl season right now, and we are bidding on almost every bowl game, whether it's for the fans, the players, or the band, or the 3 groups that travel. We also do work for concerts, whether it's Lady Gaga or Bad Bunny last year or Harry Styles. This is a situation where a tour would go on. They take the plane for 3, 6, or 12 weeks, and we basically follow the crew around. And that's one of the core markets that we have. U.S. government is a big business for us. I'd say about 1/3 of our flights are for U.S. government-based clients. The other big client base is airlines. So one of the things we can provide, and because of our certification and because of who we are and how many hours we've operated, when an airline goes down or an airline has a aircraft being in maintenance, we can operate for them. Last summer or in the last year, we've operated for Breeze, Allegiant, Avelo, Wizz, Lynx, TUI, just to name a few. This is one of our bigger opportunities going forward. As you know, there's many issues with what they call the Pratt & Whitney engines, which is going to force a lot of aircraft to be stand down. They estimate over 620 are going to be taken out of circulation this summer. And also with the delivery delays for new aircraft, there's a huge demand for this service, which we're working diligently on closing right now. We also work with every broker and tour operator, the major one that operate in the United States and the world. And we also operate a cargo fleet flying for HBO, US Postal Service, Ascent, and IBC, which amongst others. When you look at where our revenue has been, I don't think we had Q3. Q3 was a big step change for us when it came to revenue. We grew our revenue from the low 30s in the first half of the year to 42 million. Our block hours operated moved from 3,000 to 6,000 hours. So it was a step change in the size of the airline and the step change in the size of the revenues and in the results. We significantly improved our operating results from Q2 to Q3, reducing our loss by around 60% with a negative $1.7 million EBITDA charge. And keep in mind, our EBITDA and our EBIT are very close. So that's, we almost should take credit for EBIT versus EBITDA since we lease all our aircraft. Speaking of aircraft, this is our current fleet. We have 8 A320s, 2 321s, and 1 319. We also have 3 freighters currently. Our goal is to get to 16 aircraft by the end of the year. Those 2 aircraft have been identified and are in paint. So we're in the processes of receiving them, and hopefully we'll get them on by the end of the year, if not very, very early January. The goal is to grow to 27 by the end of next year and 39 by the end of the 2025. I think this is really important to when you think about, because when you think about revenue growth, with the 8 aircraft we had in 2022, we generated around 94 million in revenue. With 16 aircraft, we're going to generate over 150 million in revenue as I talk about our outlook. With 27 aircraft, I think you can project there's a direct correlation between number of aircraft and revenue. And with 39 aircraft, again, you can sort of see what kind of growth we're projecting. And with that additional aircraft, we're kind of getting to the point where we're past the break even, and we believe we'll be profitable as we continue to add aircraft going forward. We were to look for our outlook of 2023. We confirmed our forecast of over 150 million with over 95% contracted. I think I could say now it's over 99% contracted. We had, as of September 30th, we had 17,000 hours contract for 2023. And this compares to 10,000 hours contracted in all of 2022. Again, our target for the end of the year is 12 passenger and 4 freighters. We have 11 passenger and 3 freighters today, and we have the 2 other aircraft identified. And not to, in this day of ESG, we want to also highlight what we're doing to look forward. We recently launched GlobalX, which will be our eVTOL service, which will probably come online in the next 3 years. It's very, very early days with that. But we're going to be the lead customer with eVTOLs and electric aircraft in the South Florida region. Again, we are focused on the future and the future opportunities, and we believe our platform, which is incredibly scalable, is a perfect platform for these vehicles going forward. Again, to remind who we are and where we're at, this is our cap table: 57 million outstanding shares, 85 fully diluted. And when you talk about the size of who we are, we mentioned 90 million last year in revenue, over 150 million this year, pretty close to double that next year. 700 employees, 14 aircraft, all in our balance, all leased and actively flying, with another 10 to 12 becoming in the next year. And our current market cap is in around 40 million. So I think, like every small cap investor or CFO, I'm probably going to whinge about our valuation. We're no different. We believe, from our perspective, eventually our numbers will translate. You think about the multiples that some of our peers are being traded on and what they're being valued on. They're generally valued on an EBITDA multiple. I think that's grown from around 5 to 6 times is on the average. And with our results coming in, we believe we're significantly undervalued. So finally, going through to why to work with us, we believe we're poised for growth. We think there's an incredibly strong market dynamics with a lack of supply and increased demand for our services. We have contracted revenue going forward. Our fleet growth is in place. And with the ramp up of cargo business, we have a diversified revenue stream, which we think is going to serve us quite well. And with that, I think we can have time for 1 or 2 questions.
Great job, Ryan. We do have quite a few questions. Let's see how many we can get through. Ellis asks, you mentioned a cargo fleet. This is interesting. You do both. So are those planes on the same structure? Are they leased? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so our freighters are leased as well, and they're converted freighters, so they only do freight. But the great thing about it is our pilots can fly both aircraft types. So, when you talk about our assets that we have, the certification, we're certified for cargo, and pilots allow you to fly both types of aircraft.
And Lat asks, since your planes are leased, are they branded to GlobalX? And yes. Are the pilots and your brand, are the pilots and your staff outside possibly through the leasing company? How do you get your pilots and your staff?
Yeah, so all the planes are branded with our liveries, and then so you can see we have multiple liveries. We do have the option for customers to put colors on their plane if they want, but for a price. All pilots are employees of us, trained by us, and work for us. So including all pilots. So those pilots are people who work with us and for us.
And how many planes do you have currently? And do you have different planes for different charter sizes and needs?
Yeah, we have 14 aircraft right now. We have different layouts inside the plane. So we have 2 planes in VIP configuration, which are really popular with basketball teams, 68 business class seats. It's lovely if you ever get to go on it. We have high density, which is 174 seats. And then we have mixed use, which is, like on Alaska, literally the Alaska LOPA, because that's where the planes came from.
Wow. And Chris asks, since the pilots are yours, do you have a special certification program they go through?
Yeah, so anyone who wants to work for us, they have to go through ground school, they have to go through sim training, regardless of their experience prior. And then they have to go through basically on-the-job performance with a check pilot. And then once they get through that process, it takes about 90 days, then they can fly for us.
Anthony Fitzgerald asks, who is your principal lessor and who does your maintenance C and D checks?
So we have, I think, 6 different lessors, DAE, Fortress, Avalon, Genesis, to name a few. C&D checks, we have worked with multiple providers, so we don't have one specific group. Being a small player, you kind of get in where you can get in.
And talk a little bit about the percentage of your planes' availability. Are most of them booked? How often are they booked?
So I would look, if I was looking, what we do is we call what we call a blank report. So if I looked at the month of December, we're almost completely sold out. In the month of November, we were oversold to the point where we actually hired 2 other airlines to fly for us, one of them being our sister airline, Canada Jetlines. So on the passenger side, I think we're completely sold out, and we're constantly trying to squeeze more flights into the existing schedule.
Well, that's a good problem to have. All right, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us with this update. Please come back in 2024 with some more positive news.
Will do. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks so much. Okay, stay with us, everyone.